Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Vandy. Also back in another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get one star, shall we? This time we are covering Gear Chronicle Steam Maidens, the newer version of Steam Maidens. So, Steam Maidens just got an upgrade today, actually, the day I'm recording this. You guys are going to get it on Monday, I think. I'm recording this on Thursday. So, you know, Steam Maidens, they were okay when they were first released. They were definitely better in premium because they were more Steam Maidens to work with. But back when in V, when they were first revealed, they're kind of like meh because there weren't enough Steam Maidens to do a lot of stuff with. I mean, obviously they were good. They just didn't have the potential, or like they didn't have the cards to unlock their full potential. Now, they still don't have the cards to unlock their full potential, but we have more. And that's what matters in the end. We have more cards to abuse. So, let's go ahead and get this deck profile started, and then you can tell me at the end of this if Steam Maidens have actually advanced or not in their capabilities. So, first up, our starter today will be Chrono Dran, grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base. Auto when it's rolled upon, draw a card, land of your opponent's Vanguard to grade 1 or greater, get a quick shield ticket to your hand. Standard starter, nothing too special about it. Obviously, the starter's Chrono Dran. You know, I think, lore-wise, I'm not so sure, but based off of shipping in terms of cards, Chrono Dran and Uluru are mother and father, respectively, to this son of a bitch. I assume, if I remember correctly, that from what I saw 4 years ago, or whenever GZ ended, this is what I remember from, this is what I take away from everyone's fandom thoughts. So, you know, Chrono Dran obviously going to be the starter here for our Steam Maiden fan base. So, then we go into our trigger lineup, 4 copies of Steam Guard Kastilia. Grade 0 boost, 0 shield, 5k power, draw trigger to Sentinel, and 4 sounds in your deck, and auto guard circle 1 place, discard card from your hand, and one of your units cannot be hit till end of battle. Standard PG, nothing special about it. You get a draw trigger, so that's cool, you know, adding hand cards, and then still acts as a PG, so that's really nice. If you want to go the 12 crit route, you can. I feel the 12 crit route's interesting. I prefer the 4 draw 8 crit route. Speaking of which, our 8 crits are Reclaim, Key Dragon, and Steam Bomber Digul, both at 4 copies. But yeah, run whatever trigger lineup you want. I prefer this though, just because the draw trigger helps with consistency, and the 8 crits are fun to abuse the opponent with when you eventually drag check them on your constant, well, not restanding rear guard, but the rear guard that has a force marker on it that is also just a fuck ton of criticals and power. Then we have our 4 heals in the, what I call the leap start of the conversation. Steam Maiden Aluru, grade 0 boost, 20k shield, 5k power. Okay, we can all agree, like, for once, I'm probably in the right to run regular heals, or at least the vast majority of us can agree that running regular heals is better, because you want to have a card that you want to have as many cards with Steam Maiden in the card name as possible, and then when Aluru is one of them, yeah, obviously you're going to go with Aluru here. Also, just because was there a card that was name restricted to Uluru, or am I going crazy? I don't know if there was a card that was name restricted to Uluru, because I would have paid attention when I was building it, but I don't know. Either way, 4 copies of Uluru as our heal trigger. I wouldn't run the heal guardian even if it wasn't for Uluru, just because, like, I don't like heal guardian, so yeah, 4 copies of Uluru. Then we go on to grade 1s. First up, we have 4 copies of Steam Breath Dragon. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, continuous van or rear. During your turn, if a card is discarded from your hand this turn, he gets +5. Okay, doesn't happen that much in this deck. I think it only happens from himself, actually. Was there another card that does this? I don't think there was 2 cards that do. Was there 2 cards? No, it was just Steam Breath that does it, so never mind. Yeah, Steam Breath's the only one that's going to get 5k off that skill, but then auto van or rear when placed from hand, look at top 5, go to 1 grade 3 from one of them, put it to hand, shuffle your deck. If you put a card to your hand, you gotta discard 1. Yeah, that's the reason he's at 4, actually, believe it or not, because, let's just say this. We went from 6 grade 3s to 4 grade 3s. I don't know why I did that. I was already having problems trying to draw a grade 3 to begin with, and I had 2 searchers back then. Now I have 1 searcher. Well, no, technically I still have 2 of different varieties, but, you know, I lessened my amount of grade 3s. I don't know what logic drove me to do this, but whatever. 4 Steam Breath. You know, here's to hopefully him working this time, and for me not to have to G-assist every time I play the goddamn deck. So, 4 of Steam Breath. Please work. 4 copies of Steam Maiden Iluru, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Obviously here for the Steam Maiden name, but her skill is pretty good too to carry her. Active Vanguard once per turn, Soul Boss 1, bind a grade 2 or less from your hand, draw a card, then if you bound a trigger unit for its cost, draw a card. So that's cool, you know, Elul is still your main grade 3, the card you're going to be sitting on for most of the game, if not the entirety of the game. Frankly, if you didn't sit on Elul, I question what you would ride to, because there's only one other option, and I question what went through your mind to make that the good decision to ride. I can see one logical excuse. And even then, it's not really that much of a logical excuse considering we were playing V. If it was D we were playing, okay, then I could see the excuse. If V, no, fuck no. So, Iluru is really nice. She sets up for Elul by just simple soul blasting, and that puts a card into drop zone. And if we had a Steam Maiden star, this would be fucking perfect, but we don't. But, you know, binds a card, possibly draw, and then if you bound a trigger, such as Uluru over here, you get a draw as well. So that's pretty nice. It can just get you 2 draws. And then auto rear at the end of the battle that attacked. If you have a Vanguard Steam Maiden's card name, +1 bound this unit, choose a grade 2 from your bind zone, call it to rear. So just, you know, fucking with the bind zone, call stuff, get multi-attack, etc. Really nice. Shovel Force 1 on the circle. Make sure that as long as they don't say a trigger, you can basically abuse the fuck out of one column. So 4 of Iluru sets up for Elul, and not to mention her skill is just really good for multi-attacking, and that's what you want to Steam Maidens. You want to put the pressure on them just to make sure that they suffer and that they cannot break away. Because what I've learned from playing Steam Maidens just in general is that you do not want to let them escape the pressure. Put the pressure on, don't let them escape it, or if they escape it, make sure that they don't escape it with every limb attached to them. Make sure they lose something. So 4 of Iluru. Then we have 4 copies of our last grade 1 and our newest grade 1, traveling with the Steam Gearcat. Very disappointing he doesn't have Steam Maiden in his card name, but he acts as a support card for them, so I give him a good okay in that regard. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto when it's placed on van or rear. Look at top 3, reveal to 1 Steam Maiden card from among them, put it to your hand, and put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. In auto rear, when he boosts, he gets +1k for each card in your bind zone to end the battle. So that's really nice. 1, he works with this core Steam Maiden gimmick of just like +1k, or not +1k, what the fuck am I talking about? Just having abilities to activate with bind zone cards. So, you know, and it's a standard Gear Chronicle thing too, just having bind zone cards. So that's really nice that he works with any Gear Chronicle deck, but also the fact that he works with Steam Maiden is because he searches the top 3 for free. Granted, it's a mandatory look, but you don't have to add a Steam Maiden. Granted, they'll just go to bottom anyways, but like, you know, you don't have to add a Steam Maiden if you want to. Cool, you add a Steam Maiden. It's free, van or rear. It is not a named once per turn. It's not a once per turn in general. There is no cost to it. There is no reason not to run out of 4 of in a Steam Maiden deck. The only thing that could make this card better is if it had Steam Maiden as card name itself, but that doesn't matter to me because he literally searches every Steam Maiden. He searches Uluru. He searches the grade 4 that we now have. He searches the grade 1, 2, 3. He literally searches everything. There's no reason not to run him out of 4 of. Then we move on to our grade 2s. 2 copies of Steam Mechanic Nabu, who I was tempted to cut in the final build, but I kept him because he has been, she, whatever gender this thing classifies. I hear it different one every time I see this card. Some people call it he, some people call it she. I've just chosen to call it it because that's the only one I can consistently call it. Anyways, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto rear, when it attacks a Vanguard, bind a card from your drop. Your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater from their hand to guard circle to the end of battle. Or, sorry, cannot just call cards grade 1 or greater from the hand into end of battle. So basically, they can't call shit to rear, but they could also just more normally call shit to guard. And at the end of the battle, put it to soul, draw a card. Okay, here's why this is ran. It's just to bind cards and drop. It's a free bind. And you want the free bind because, you know, you can use it to bind a grade 3 in your drop zone, so you can combo with the next card. Well, not the next card, but like the other Steam Maiden cards that activate from binding. You can use it to bind a heal trigger from drop. You can use it to bind a grade 1 from drop. It's basically here just to bind your stuff from drop for the Steam Maidens. And then the grade 1 or graders, meh. Like, this isn't the column you're going to be swinging with for game. It's going to be this column you're abusing the shit out of. So, yeah, it's not really going to be Nabu doing the finishing. He's just, whatever it's classified as, is going to be doing the setup. And then as for the other part of the skill, it's a mandatory move to slow, but you get a draw out of it. So who doesn't want that? So 2 copies of Nabu, because while it is useful, it is also meh. It's still a good card, though, so 2 of. Then we have 3 copies of Steam Maiden Ishbie. It is solely here for that Steam Maiden name, and her skill has never come in useful, even the time I deliberately tried using it, and my deck screwed me over because it got me a draw trigger, and I literally couldn't use her skill by 1 card. Thanks a lot, deck. Screw you. Anyways, literally I could have had 1 more hand card. I had 1 hand card at the start of my drive check. My drive check, no trigger, draw trigger, puts me to 4. Fuck. Couldn't use Ishbie now. If I had just not gotten that draw trigger, I would have had 5 hand cards in total because of Ishbie. I would have had 1 more. I still would have lost, but still. Anyways, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto rear at the end of the battle attack. If you have 3 or less hand cards, counterblast 1, retire her. Draw 2 cards. Okay. So you can use her for 1 or 2 purposes. You can use her with Elul to, get more attacks. Or in the case that you don't want to use with Elul because, you know, maybe you need hand cards because maybe you've been put at a disadvantage because maybe every time you play this deck, the deck forces you to G-assist because 2 Ulurus end up in your opening hand against your will. Then you can counterblast 1 and retire her and get your draws. And then hopefully you don't see triggers like I do every time you draw. So, you know, adds to hand, possible options, nice comeback card. I just wish she was not against me every time I played her in this deck. 3 copies of Ishbie. She's really nice as a final card to save your ass, and she's a Steam Maiden, so there's a plus in that. So 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Steam Maiden Aluru. Grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base. Auto is placed on rear from your bind zone. Bind a card from your drop, and this unit gets plus 3k to end of turn for each card for each grade of the bound card for this cost. So we now have a grade 4 in this deck. So that's plus 12. Cool. That's really good. That's just a 22. I'll take a 22. And then auto rear at the end of the battle attack. If you have a Vanguard with Steam Maiden and its card name, counterblast 1, bind this unit, choose a grade 3 from your bind zone, call it to rear. Okay, here's what you do. You swing with Uluru, then you use Elul's skill. If you don't remember, basically just bind and then call. Call Iluru, swing with Iluru, use Iluru's skill, call the grade 2, use the grade 2 skill, call the grade 3, and then if by some miracle you manage to have Elu's extra skill, or like Elu's skill wasn't a once per turn, then swing with that Elu, once more implying that it wasn't a once per turn, and then call the grade 4 that we now have. Boom! One column got 4 attacks. Bushy's gonna give us a way to do it. We all know this, right? I'm not crazy. Bushy's gonna give us a way to do it, so it's just a matter of time waiting for it. Either way, Aluru is a pretty nice card. Helps out the bind zone for free just by getting a free bind of drop. You don't have to bind anything. That's the best part. But you can just choose to buy something from drop to set up for Elu's skill or just your bind zone in general. And not to mention, she can call a grade 3 for multi-attack. So all around, nice grade 2. I like her skill. I like her art. I think she's cool. 4 of. Then we have our new grade 2, which is honestly amazing. Steam Maiden Eternia. So we got by the way, we got 2 new Steam Maidens, and only one of them is effectively quote-unquote useful in the deck. I'm not saying the other 2 aren't useful, I'm just saying useful, but you know, this is one of the only 2 Steam Maidens we got, but it's still good for the deck. Anyways, grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when placed on van or rear, counterblast 1, search after 1. It's traveling with the Steam Gearcat, call to rear guard on the same column as unit, and shuffle your deck. Okay, wait. So by counterblasting 1, when this thing is placed, you get a free searcher who will then look at the top 3 and then get another possible Steam Maiden. And you do this all just for 1 counterblast. And this doesn't have to be placed from hand. So this can end up in bind zone and you can just do all this. Multi-attack galore, people. Bushy has said, fuck rulings, let's just give Steam Maidens whatever. Okay, cool. So now Steam Maidens, if they actually do get more support, they're gonna be far more broken than they should have been in the first place. I like how Bushy gives us 3 cards randomly. We do nothing with them because we can't. And then the next set, they give us 2 cards or 1 actual good solid card in general that we can use. And then that becomes abusable with another card. And then suddenly the deck is 1 card away from being broken. So anyways, yeah, now we can have column attackers. And then auto rear at the end of the battle, it attacked while boosted, which you're going to have because the Gearcat is called. Soul Blast 1, reveal top 2, choose to 1 card from one, add it to hand, and bind the other. Elu's skill activates at the end of the battle. So while she can't bind herself, she can get fodder in the top 2, and then Elu can bind her. Not to mention, she can just get you a free card. She can get you a grade 3, she can get you a grade 2, she can get you a grade 4, she can get you a trigger for all you care, and none of this requires you to be at grade 3 or for your opponent to be at grade 3. And this deck has very little Soul Blasters. In fact, if I remember correctly, Enterana is the only Soul Blaster. 4 of Enterana, because logic has been thrown out the window. This is one of the better Steam Maidens, if not the best Steam Maiden, hand down, best card, 4 of. You're crazy not to run this out of 4 of in a Steam Maiden deck. Then we have 4 copies of Steam Maiden Elu. Okay, we all know I'm biased towards this card. We see the moon in the background. We see the clouds. I love this thing's art. The white flowing hair, the mechanical knife sword thing, all the axe that I see every now and again. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Anyways, Elu is a grade 3 with Twin Drive Force gift for 13k base. Active Vanguard Circle once per turn. Bind a card from your drop zone. Choose 1 Steam Maiden from your bind zone. Call it to rear. So free bind of anything you want, and then you can call a Steam Maiden. So if you don't have a Steam Maiden in bind zone, just bind a Steam Maiden in drop zone, and then call it. Cool, and this is how you start your chain from Uluru, because Uluru can just be in your drop zone from guarding, bind Uluru, and then just call right back. Cool, and then just make sure there's a force marker on that circle, and Uluru is good, because she can swing for 15. And then auto van, once per turn, at the end of the battle, your rear guard with Steam Maiden's card name attacked. Just bind that unit for free. Choose a card with the same grade as the bound card +1. Bind from your bind zone, call it to rear guard circle, and if you call it a grade 1, countercharge 1. So, bind Uluru for the first skill, call it on a force marker circle, swing with Uluru for 15, then, or maybe more depending on how many times you've ridden this turn, then bind Uluru with Elu skill, call this one, and then what you do is you countercharge 1 because you called a grade 1, attack with Iluru, counterblast 1, use her skill, either call this thing or this thing. If you want multi-attack, call this one. If you want consistent board, call this one. Get Gearcat, do your shit, etc. It's stupid. Or just call this and then get a grade 3. Either way, it's good. And then continuous van or rear. During your turn, this unit gets plus 1k for each card in your bind zone. If it was on van, it gets plus 3 instead of plus 1. So, very simple power-up. Really good. Works on rear. This thing is stupid. It literally costs no counterblast nor soul blast to use its skills. In fact, it is straight up a countercharger. Bushy has to tread very lightly with giving us support now because they have us they've given us a free good grade 3. And what I mean by this, it literally has no cost to any of its skill outside of binding stuff that you would bind anyways. Like, genuinely, Bushy has to be very careful with the support they give us because they could be giving us like a weapon at any time that just unloads like a fucking nuke on anything that it hits. So for Elul, because her consistency with this deck is crazy, the only thing holding us back is just Bushy not giving us Steam Maidens, and this being a once per turn. If this was not a once per turn, we would not be that held back, but still. So, you know, all around, good skill, allows for multi-attack, free setup for no apparent reason whatsoever, and decent power buff that didn't need to be there, but it's good to have it. 4 of. Then we move on to our last unit card, and the last card in the deck. Yeah, the last card in the deck. 4 copies of Retroactive Time Maiden, Uluru. If you asked me when I woke up this morning if I predicted this to be the Uluru we got, I would have said no. I did question what they meant by we're getting a new Uluru and new Steam Maidens, but I didn't think we'd be getting a G Guardian. Really interesting though to see how they transferred a G Guardian into V, and we'll just read his skill and I'll get my opinion on in a second. Grade 4 Twin Drive 15k base. So it doesn't have shield, but it does have drive checks. Auto, when it's put on guard circle, choose a unit card from your drop zone and either put it to bind zone or put it to bottom. And this unit gets plus 25k for the battle. Shield. So it gets more shield than the original Uluru, because the original Uluru will send 2 stuff back and it becomes a 20k shield. This one is just a straight up 25. Okay. And it's a unit card, so it can be triggers too, is the funny part. So you can just start sending heals back. And then auto drop zone, when your vanguard is attacked, discard a heal trigger from your hand and call this card to guard circle. And auto, when it's retired from guard circle, bind it. Okay. They were smart about this. They were smart about this. I'll give them that. But, whew. Okay, let's unpack that. Doesn't have rear guard skills, which is very disappointing in my eyes. But it has a twin drive, and if you ride this for some fucking reason, I question you, because a 15k base in V does nothing. If this was D, yes, history has proven that 15k bases would make a difference, but not here in V, especially with this one. But that's a really good skill. Like, instant guard of 25k. That's so good at any point in the game. And then you can either just send stuff back or just get free setup for your next turn. That's exactly what I wanted in V. Like, now I have more Steam Maidens to abuse with, and, oh, sorry, it's not a Steam Maiden, actually, it's a Time Maiden, so yeah, you can't really abuse with Steam Maiden skills, but still, it's really good, just because of that 25k shield, and not to mention that it's the same cost as a G-Guard, because discard Aluru, and you get more shield, because then you can just bind Zed Aluru, get set up for next turn, and then you got essentially 5k more shield out of it. And granted, it will get bound, yes, but, you could just use Elu combined with another grade 3 swing, so it'd have to be an Elu. So you could swing with this, bind it, call him Elu from bind zone, swing with Elu, and then use the skill of this Elu, bind that Elu, and then call Time Maiden. And then put her into drop zone next turn, and then just have a constant loop of Elurus. This thing is good. You can loop it. I mean, granted, not a consistent loop, but you can loop it. Has good shield and stupid bullshit. 4 of amazing art. I love this card. It's good. It's fucking good. Hell, I might even run it in just other decks just to prove a point. 4 of. Then we have our force gifts. We have 5 force 1s, 5 force 2s. Never pick this. Never pick this. Don't. Like, sometimes I would advocate for the other gift. No. It's just this one. It is just this one. Don't pick this if you're using this. If you're using this deck, this exact deck to a T, pick this. Never pick this. If you're using your own special deck, maybe pick this. I don't know, but this one is this one for this deck. So anyways, Force 1, when acquired, goes on van or rear, and the unit on that circle is +10 during your turn. It can be stacked and put on the same circle multiple times. So, never put it on van. Never put it on van. Shove it on the same rearguard circle. Make sure it's a front row rearguard circle. Then every time you attack with a Steam Maiden unit, make sure it's on that rearguard circle to abuse shit out of it. If you already have a Steam Maiden on a rearguard, shove 4, even if a unit's in front of it, shove 4 circles on the one in front of it and then swap the rearguards, because the Steam Maidens are going to be a lot more useful because you can just bind them from Elul skill or just multi-attack with them. Force 1's the way to go because just stack numbers and abuse them with multi-attack columns. And then Force 2, you know, when acquired, it goes on van or rear as well. And it can be placed on the same circle multiple times, but it can't stack because the unit's original critical on that circle becomes 2. If it was the critical gets +1, then it could stack. Unless I said the original critical gets +1, then it wouldn't be able to stack 2. But yeah, it's just makes it so that they take more damage. But Force 1 is better because it just forces them to drop more hand cards. And eventually, against a multi-attack deck, if you're playing this right and you don't let up on the pressure, they're eventually going to lose something. And even if they do make it out of it, they'll probably have lost 90% of their hand, if not more. So, yeah, Force 1 is the way to go. You will never get more than 5 Force 1s. Frankly, I just forgot to take out the extra Force 1 because I built this deck this morning and I completely forgot about it. So, yeah, there's 4 Force 1s. Don't bother with this one. Yeah. And then we have our Quick Show, which is one of your attacks plus 5k for the battle. You don't, unfortunately, Uluru doesn't work with this. I really wish Uluru said discard a heal trigger or discard a quick shield. Or like, well, yeah, no, just discard a quick shield. You can actually use it quicker. But, yeah, no, it's just a 5k shield. You know, you could, in fact, use it with like Steam Breath. But outside of Steam Breath and the PG, which are the only cards that actually have discard skills, the Quick Shield is pretty much just a free 5k shield. So go ahead and use it if you want to, if you have the time for it. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, I like this deck. I think it's good. I haven't tried it out, but I'm pretty sure it's good because like my hunches have been really good so far. Elul was already good. It just needed more Steam Maidens to work with. We got this card, which doesn't deserve to exist, but it's good as hell. We have Cat, which is just as good and probably one of my favorite searchers ever. And then we have Conversion into G-Guard with cool ass art and like hands down best guard skill I've ever seen in V. Like, damn. Just damn. Also, I like its art because if you can't tell, this is just Aluru like spread out to a more greater extent. So yeah, I'm ending here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let's see where Steam Maidens go. I'm curious because this is really good and I can't wait to see if Bushy gives us more Steam Maidens next time. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.